How do we navigate through the chaos if we're reacting to everything and we're pointing the finger and we're saying, you are who is wrong, and we're not accepting that what we're witnessing right now is a reflection of our own disowned material, collectively speaking.
Yes.
And so it's going to require all of those who feel the drive to understand themselves and to recognize their own position and potentiality in this life and in this phase of evolution. We all need to become really committed to our own personal practice, our own personal awakening, and taking self-responsibility for everything that's happening to us, so that we collectively can help to raise that kind of unified field of consciousness, so that others can slip into it more easily. What I experienced in Rishikesh here is meditation is so easy, because there have been people here meditating, holding this certain field of consciousness for so long that when we come into this area, it's like you just slip into it. I feel like if we collectively can do that, those of us who feel the drive, there's enough of us that we can actually really help to raise the collective consciousness, if you like.
Yeah, I'm really moved by this because you know, the reactions and the amount of fear that's happening, and yet you're describing taking self-responsibility, using these scientific practices, and people will have the different modalities that work for them, being committed to that, and when the reactions come up, keep from blaming, doing the practice, let the practices release, and getting into a truer self. And then that presence can be felt. I mean, we were talking with Bruce Lipton, and Bruce Lipton says our energy field can be felt by those around us. And when we're in a positive field, it helps elevate people. And I've also heard, you know, Sufi mystic Llewellyn Van Lee say, you know, we also then access intelligence that's available. That we can't access if we're in a place of fear.
That's right.
And then that intelligence can then guide our actions.
That's right.
In the world. So we're less reactive. We're collecting into what Anamyotra and other swamis would say, a natural intelligence.
That's right.
And so in this sense, inner peace, we like to say inner peace is a global responsibility. And these ancient sciences of yoga are incredibly timely, coming from here in the Himalayas, sent by Vivekananda, Yogananda, other great beings, knowing that we would be in this time. And so you're really speaking to the heart and soul of the dynamics of this period. And so let's go a little bit deeper for people who are listening and who might be feeling fear and reactions, and they're watching. Earlier we talked about the addiction of watching the news and the drama and this and that. So speak a little bit more to people who are in these experiences.
Well, I just experienced it myself in these last few months in the United States. I became addicted in my way. I had to keep going, looking at the news. What's happening now? Wow, wow, oh wow. And I found that was, I was starting to do it before I meditated in the morning. And so I had to take responsibility in that and see, wow, Kia, you're getting off on some level at what's going on, because you have some opinion that people are behaving in a way that isn't appropriate to you. But I was allowing it to take me out of my center and out of my natural intelligence. And I've been feeling this kind of inner wave again in me of we need to speak out, but not in the old way that I used to feel like I needed to speak out. For me, I feel like what I'm driven to communicate at this time is, let's all do our sadhana. Let's do our practice. And as you said, allow that intelligence to come through, because I feel like collectively we've had this kind of very peaceful period leading up to now, where we've been able to dive into and explore lots of different practices. And it's been like a honeymoon period, really. But now we have to do the work and not just flip back into old behavior. Oh, well, the world's just chaotic and it's out of control. But, oh, okay, I've had the privilege in all of this last period of time to, and I'm talking about, you know, people like myself and peers that, you know, we've been deeply studied and entrenched in yogic science and practices and communicating that. But now we have to really work it.
And then bring it into each moment of the day, each interaction. And what I think is interesting, some of the training that we've also done, Peace Ambassador trainings, others, bringing that base, taking responsibility for personal healing, seeing how that contributes to the collective, and then layer on top of that. I know Tommy had sent out some announcements about nonviolent communication. Rita Marie Johnson has tools in nonviolent communication with HeartMath technology. So if you take the deep sadhana practice, doing this work, and combine it with some other tools, I mean, communication tools.
Yes, and then exactly, start to communicate to one another lovingly.